Another week, another game. Looking forward to being at home after being on the road the last couple weeks, and so really excited to play at home Saturday night. And you know, we talk about seeing our fans on the road. That's always fun, but it's always good to be back home and in front of all our fans and in front of our student section. So looking forward to the game. Looking forward to the matchup with Virginia. Very explosive team, especially on the offensive side. They lead, and they're in the top of a bunch of categories offensively in college football, and well coached. Obviously, Bronco Mendenhall is their head coach and does an amazing job with that group. You can see the time that he spent in it, and the wonderful schemes that they come up with, and the style of how they play the game. Very familiar to what we've seen here for more than a decade in BYU football. So looking forward to the matchup. Obviously some things that we need to work on from last week, looking to get better, and so there's a lot of urgency from us this week to get to work, and looking forward to the guys. I come talk about Washington State game. Love the effort. Kind of like I said, post game, obviously some things that we can fix, but I'm glad the guys keep fighting and they keep believing in each other, and the effort was awesome. So we just put together a game plan and see what we can get done this weekend and how much we can improve this week.
Thanks, Coach. We have questions now from Jared Lloyd and then Jay Drew.
Kalani, Bronco did his press conference a couple hours ago, and he talked about similar journeys, the fact that you both were defensive coordinators, got your first opportunities to be head coaches at BYU, and I don't know what kind of relationship you have with them, but what's that like? Just a different dynamic in that sense. You touched on it, but this week having the previous head coach come in with his new team.
Yeah, I mean, there's a lot of BYU guys on that staff, and so there's a great connection between our staff and their staff, and guys that have played football here and guys that have put in a lot of effort and energy and sacrificed a lot of their time here at BYU. So we're always going to be supportive of them, and we tend to watch a lot of the Virginia games because we want to support those guys, and we're friends with a lot of them, and I have tons of respect for Bronco Mendenhall and what he's done here at BYU. But the type of man that he is, the leader that he is, he produces great people in his football programs, and it's been a pleasure for me to be here and to take over, as a new head coach in a program that he established and laid the foundation and was able to really do some great things. And so I have a deep appreciation and gratitude to him. And we still consider all those guys BYU guys, and so we support Virginia and we want to see them win. And whenever we have games and we have success, it's pretty much a given that we'll get a lot of praise coming from back east, and a lot of the guys on that staff and people that reach out to myself and others on our team with congrats. And so just a classy organization, and it's because of their head coach and what he does as a leader. And so you can tell his players love him. He does a great job, and I like his style of coaching and leadership. I think he gets the most out of his young men, and they love him. And so that's always going to be good with me. And I have if you look at the last 16 years or so, there's been two guys in that seat, and he's one of them. So I think if there's anybody that would understand a little bit what I'm going through, he would be the guy. And so I'm looking forward to connecting with him pregame, and I'm going to give him a warm welcome that he deserves because of the time that he spent here and the things that he's done for this organization. Being a BYU fan myself, have tons of appreciation for him on that. Well, once the game starts, we'll go back to the game being about the players, and once it's finished, regardless of the outcome, that level of respect and appreciation and love will still be there for him and his staff.
Do we make too much of it, Kalani? Because I know at the end of the day it's a football game, and we always bring it up with Kyle at Utah, and now Bronco coming back this week. Outside, is it maybe bigger deal than maybe it is inside? Because you guys got to play football.
Yeah, I think we try to stay as focused as possible and on what our job is, but I think it's I've been through it. I've been where you come back to a place and that you spent time at. And so for me, being a former player, to come back here and coach, it was different, but it was pretty cool to see the familiar faces and things like that. And it's a really cool experience. And for me, I think everybody can handle it however they want, but I would hope fans would just be thinking about the energy, the time, the sacrifice, the hard work that Bronco and his staff did here, and how it deserves great gratitude and appreciation and love. And then when we go to the game, we go play the game, and the players in the same colors deserve all their cheers. And but afterwards, I hope that we can. I've always said that it's not good to want bad things for good people. This would fit in that sense where it'd be good for us to support Bronco as we're looking at a church member. He's a leader, and he's producing some great things, not just football, but a lot of great things out there in the East Coast. And I think it'd be okay for us to want them to do well in every game but this one.
Kalani, when you were at Utah, how often did you face a Robert Anae offense as the D coordinator, and what are some of the things that stand out about it?
I can't remember all the years. I can barely remember what I ate for breakfast this morning. So, I mean, there's a style that Robert has, very effective, and Robert is a guy that requires their O-line to be physical, but utilizes everybody on the field, including the quarterback. And look at what Coach and I has done with that offense. I mean, they're at the top. They score a lot of points. They get a lot of yards. They're very difficult to defend. They use so many different guys in so many different ways. I mean, they have receivers and guys that look like receivers that are playing tight end positions. They have really big O-line. They can have a quarterback that's really he's really efficient in his throwing, and then he can run the ball. So they utilize him in that way. But then you have just a bunch of different weapons that he uses, and he's evolved where he now uses so many guys in so many different ways. He's always done that, but they're just spreading the ball all over the place, man. And it's not uncommon to see a receiver or a tight end or different type of personnel in the backfield running the ball, and even running out as an option pitch. Most times you see receivers go out, in the backfield, and they run something to the outside like fly sweep or stretch play, and he's running power and he's running counter downhill stuff with that personnel. Makes it difficult to defend, but well organized, efficient, and they score a bunch of points and get a bunch of yards. So it'll be a tough matchup, but we're looking forward to it. I think it'll get the most out of us.
We'll take questions now from Mitch and Sean.
Kalani, you mentioned earlier that if there's a person that knows what you're going through, it would be Bronco. So I ask, when you first started in 2016 or in the years since, did Bronco ever reach out to you, or did you reach out to Bronco for advice or pointers on how to navigate this BYU head coach position?
The difficulty with head coaches connecting quite often is that you don't want to intrude on their time, So for me, I didn't want to invade his space going there and getting a new program set, and then I'm trying to do the same thing here with a bunch of new faces. So we started to connect a little bit more when in settings like conventions and things like that. We'd always talk for a little bit and spend some time together, and then like Lavelle's funeral service, things like that we can kind of connect and talk. But I don't think it was. I think we were so busy doing that, trying to get our program set and our identity as coaches set and our culture set. I mean our scheme set at the programs with our new staff. So not a lot of that, but there's a bunch of coaches that are friends of mine there too. I mean, the guys that are position coaches and support staff members that are friends with me and other coaches on our staff here. So those relationships just don't all of a sudden stop.
And I wanted to ask you maybe just the latest status on MP, Romney, Fauatea, and Haas. Any of those guys possibilities for this week?
The hard part about doing this at noon, that hour, is that we don't know enough, right? So maybe we'll ask the people that you guys do interviews with after practice. So maybe A-Rod or Fessy or someone will get on and give you some information on those guys and Elisa. But right now I don't have a lot to give you, so they're really being evaluated as we speak. And so, whether the news gets out, I mean, I imagine by the time after practice, everyone will know what's going on, if it's season ending or if it's going to be some time. But right now, I don't have any info for you.
Go ahead, Sean.
Coach, you touched on Virginia's quarterback, Brennan Armstrong, a little bit, and just what do you see out of him that kind of stands out to you about him? And maybe more importantly, it seems like Bronco and perhaps more accurately Jason Beck, their quarterback's coach, another BYU guy that you talked about, is kind of providing this nice track record over there of really good quarterbacks. So is this Armstrong kid just kind of another one in their line that they're making, or what stands out the most about him?
Well, I think there's a lot of if you talk about foundation and how the core of how they teach, he fits exactly what they've been doing, and that goes before even Virginia. That goes out to here, that quarterbacks are well coached and they have a high football IQ, and you could just see when you're watching him that he's got this great presence about him, and he's got this moxie, he's got this confidence that you want in a quarterback, and he's a great leader. And so you see that, and then you combine that with his skill set, which is he's tough, he can run, and then he throws efficiently and makes great decisions. So when you have all that combined with all the skill that they have on their team, you're gonna score a lot of points and make a lot of defenses look silly. So we've got to be ready to work, and we've got to make sure that we don't make a lot of mistakes, because they can put you in a bind with matchups and a lot of different things, and then they also can go some tempo. So they really stress the defense, and they get a lot of young guys and even experienced guys watching the film in bad positions, and the quarterback finds the one mistake that you make on defense, and he exposes you real quickly.
Go ahead, Jake.
Yeah, Kalani, you do this often where you guys go west to east, 2 time zones to face off against teams on the East Coast. Is it easier to go east to west or west to east, or does it really matter?
I don't know. I don't know. I never heard that question before, but it's hard to go 2 time zones away, right? And so I don't know if the difference, if you look at like when Hawaii leaves the islands and comes out here compared to when we go there, I don't know. I just think everybody would like to play at home, and or take a bus ride somewhere rather than get on a plane. But I think when it's all said and done, everybody's used to traveling. They get it, and you get there, and as long as there's air that you can breathe, and there's a field to play a football game, and the guys are going to be fine. I don't think it really adds much to the preparation and to the as far as advantage one way or the other.
I also wanted to just ask you for a thought on the Virginia defense. Nick Howell and Kelly Ping are running that defense. What do you see from them?
Yeah, really good defense, and they don't. If you look at them, they got some really good size. I know they've dealt with some injuries. That's always tough to go with, but scheme wise, and you're looking at the effort and the assignment sound football, great fundamentals, great technique, and so. And then those are some really good coaches. So they have. I like what they do scheme wise. I think they utilize their talent really well. So it's going to be tough. I mean, this is a tough team, and you look at what they've done all year long. That they're well coached in every phase, and they get great effort, and the guys believe in each other. So you have all that combined with great coaching, and it's going to be a good matchup. Glad we have them at home.
You've been coaching BYU as an independent. You guys will be jumping into the Big 12, but they're stepping away from ACC play now to come out and play you guys in a non-conference matchup. Do you think that affects a team in any way to have to step away from conference play to play a non-conference game, or does it really matter in any sense?
I don't know if it matters. I mean, I think you watch them and when they play week to week, they have the same mindset, same approach. So I don't think that really plays into it. You know, that they dominate a lot of people. You know, and they do some great things in all three phases. So I don't see them looking at this as a step down in competition, as it being a G5 team or type something like that. I see them looking at it as another opportunity for them to play. Bronco does a great job of getting his players ready, so they'll be ready for the game, and I need to make sure that I get our guys ready.
Okay, question from John Walker.
Yeah, Coach, if I could move away from Virginia and Bronco and homecoming and all that, even a little bit away from this week's preparation. But you touched on this a little bit in post-game, but just wanted to get maybe a little bit more. You guys obviously get that 6th win, clinch bowl eligibility again for another season. And that's obviously a big deal for the practices and whatnot. But can you just kind of give us a little more on why, I guess, being bowl eligible and getting that extra postseason is so important for this program, I guess?
Yeah, because we talk about development and getting our players more experienced. And sometimes, number one, the bowl game gives you an extra game for that. But I think I talked about last time was just those extra practices mean a lot. And so to me, it's a great springboard to going into the off season for spring ball, and because your season's only in the fall, you have to utilize the time correctly, and if you don't have a bowl game, you don't get those extra practices, and you don't get to see your guys develop. Believe it or not, guys can develop from August to December, and so when you get them in December, that's like another fall camp, but you'd get it later in the year when they've actually had months of being in the weight room and getting used to what, you know, the college life, getting used to the schedule, and then you get them kind of fresh and you get them practicing. It gives you some time to, you know, do some live stuff, do some scrimmaging, especially with the young guys, and take advantage of all that time in regards to their development.
Coach, appreciate your time today. Thanks for coming on and joining everyone.
All right, guys, appreciate it. Stay safe. Thanks.